Hey Arun, thank you for taking time out today and meeting me to discuss on this topic that we had a little chit chat earlier. So we recently met in Goa in BHX event, right? So this is a kind of a survey I'm trying to do with everyone with whom I had a conversation with to understand, how your experience was with me as a physically challenged since I'm a physically challenged person. So how was your experience with me? But before that, I would even want to go a little bit into the history and try to understand if you have encountered with physically challenged people before and how was your experience with them. So we'll start with the history first. So let me
Mhm.
know if you had experiences with physically challenged people before and how was your experience with them.
To be honest, I have not had experiences with physically challenged people. But right now, the situation is that my dad was struck in a very bad way when COVID happened.
Okay.
So he lost his mobility and he has been bedridden for 2 years now. So
Sorry to hear that.
we had to take care of him and understand what he needs and so somewhere I feel I know what people go through mentally because I think I have seen it for the last 2 years at least. And me personally, I had a lower back issue which needed a lot of treatment. So there was a time when I had a huge, I think it was a kneecap issue. So I
Mhm.
had my whole of right leg in, the plaster. So
Okay.
again, literally, it was like not able to use my right leg for almost 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so personally, I have underwent, even though I have not had direct contact with people, but
Yeah.
yes, personally, I have experienced it.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, so based on what has the situation was with your dad and some of the things that you have gone through, what do you think were the major challenges that you faced?
I think one of the major challenges is I feel that our society is still not open to the concept that some people might be different.
Mhm.
So the sheer phrase that we use, physically challenged. So there itself, you are giving the society a kind of a direct indication that these people need help because the moment the word challenge comes in, you are indirectly hinting that they need help. So
Okay.
I think whenever the concept of help comes in, automatically I think 90% of people feel that somebody is weak. Either it's physically or emotionally. So that's where challenge comes in. And so I think majority of the people immediately go into the sympathy mode. Oh, this person is going through something. And sympathy is what rules the world today because I feel it. But this is my personal take on it. I feel that when people feel sympathetic towards somebody, somewhere they are feeling stronger about themselves also because they find themselves in a much better place. You
Right.
know, actually, empathy is something what is needed, but somehow majority of the people don't really know the difference. So
Agreed.
I think that is a key thing there.
So you brought up a very interesting concept, and I would like to dig little deep on that. So there are different terms out there, specially challenged, physically challenged, uh, specially abled, differentially abled, disabled, physically challenged. I'm sure you heard all these terms before,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And you said right now, I prefer to use term physically challenged, but now you've changed my perspective. So now I would like to counter question this and probably understand so that, in future we can come up with a better term and position it better. So what, according to you, would be the right term to be used?
Why couldn't it be physically different? Now that's a more neutral term.
Physically different. And that's an eye opener. I like that. I love that. Yeah. So I'll give you a little bit why I asked that question. So when I started when I kind of became more aware of, how the world uses terms, I first come across the term disabled, didn't like it. I came across the term differently abled, didn't like it. I came across the term specially abled. didn't like it. And I chose physically challenged because I felt that, physically, yeah, there are certain challenges, like I cannot walk, and I can walk with the help of calipers and crutches. But yeah, it's a challenge. There has to be some modifications made, some aids that I'll have to use with which I can walk, and it's a challenge that I can overcome with mobility aids. That's how I used to look at it. But the way you put it puts things in a different perspective for me, and thank you so much for that. Yeah, so I think we are going to have a much longer discussion on this later because this is something I would definitely want to understand at a deeper level and explore more possibilities, because at Strentor we try to get the right messaging across to people. So definitely would love to have a longer conversation on this later. But
Oh,
moving on to the next question. So we spent around 6 days in Goa, all 33 of us, right? And I think I got to know that Kushal already told everybody that I would be coming and kind of prepared everyone. So my one question would be, what was your first thought or first feeling when you got to know that a wheelchair user is also be going to be part of the experience?
to be honest, brutally honest,
Yes.
being a Punjabi, I think that
Yes,
brutal honesty is good.
definitely.
So yeah, so I think the first thing is personally, I'm not for the idea of making a special announcement that somebody like this is joining, because
Okay.
there itself you're telling people that kind of watch out, somebody else who is completely different is coming in. So
Mhm.
that there itself people's minds are being told to prepare themselves, which I think is not fair on the person who is coming in. uh,
Yeah.
I think you should just come in and everybody should see you and then give their thoughts and reactions to it, because now it is like you're being told that okay, the exam is on this subject, be prepared. So everybody is preparing, and they are not sure how they have to respond because it has been made as a special announcement. So I don't know why people have to make a special announcement, because you could just have there is one more person joining in and let the person come in, and then people see it and respond to it. I think that's the most natural reaction.
All right. Man, I love your perspective. Okay, perfect. You are like another Punjabi kind of breed. So definitely love that. Uh, so yeah, definitely a different perspective, and I'm glad that we are having this conversation because you are bringing a very different perspective than what I've had earlier, right? Uh, so so that was the initial part. Now, during those 6 days of the times that we talked together, we had events together and all that. How was your experience with me? What were your thoughts and feelings during that time? And towards the end of it, once everything was over as well.
See, on the first instance itself, I was not looking at Aditya who was physically challenged or differently challenged. I mean, these things don't matter to me. See, like I said, you are another human being. So my only concern during those days was, yeah, me as a person who is a trainer. So when I come up to you to talk, and when I bend over, I always have this feeling that does that look intimidating to you? Because sitting down, somebody looking down upon you can get intimidating.
Hmm.
So somewhere I sometimes feel that I should bend down or be on my knees when I talk to you so that we can see eye to eye. Because I somehow hate the concept of leaning down, because I feel it could be slightly intimidating at times when
Hmm.
so many people come and start looking down upon you.
Right.
So I think that could be actually be brought in as something that we could tell people that, see, if you are with a person like this, make sure you sit down and talk, not
Hmm.
stand and.
Hmm. I like the thought. That's something that is taught as part of sensitization training. So you are on on point on that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then secondly, I mean, I had done some research on all the profiles of people who had come there. So before joining in, so I read about you also. And see, personally, I underwent a lot of physical challenges myself, having been an epileptic patient. So I had to really fight through a lot of things. So I kind of admire and respect people who have their own fights that they are still in.
Mhm.
And I know how society can be pretty ruthless at times, because, like I said, sympathy can be ruthless also, because then everybody is looking at you as if you have some major problem, and everybody wants to help, and no, please don't go there. Let's do this. So I feel that makes you feel like, why are they doing this? Because I am okay. I'm able to handle my own things.
Right.
But then everybody wants to jump in and help.
No, right. That is true. There's a very fine line between empathy and sympathy.
Yes.
It's like doing things in the right balance is what empathy is. And the moment you overdo things, it ends up being a sympathy.
Yes.
Right. So if I have to put it in a very simple way, you can be helping, but you cannot be over helping because then it's coming out of sympathy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think one of the key things that has to happen is that our education system itself should have a portion in their syllabus where they talk about these things, not just the differently able to whatever term we call it, but also the emotionally different people also.
Yes.
Because I think when a person is physically different like you are, you have a certain set of emotional challenges that come with it too,
There are
because of
mental
what you of it.
challenges, there are emotional challenges. All of them
Yes.
become part of the package. I mean,
Yeah,
see,
but my thing is, Ati, when we look at it from an outsider perspective, when people look at it, they see only the physical side of it.
yes,
They're not aware of the emotional side.
they are not aware.
So that is a big problem, in fact.
Yeah. And of course, like for us also, it's like a learning experience. Like, I'm born with it, right? But I'm born with the physical challenge. I'm not born how to deal with the mental and emotional part. It is something that we learn over a period of time with our experiences and everything, right? So yeah, a little sensitization on that part definitely go a long way for our community for sure, in helping us also gel well with the whole community as a one unit.
And I think it should be definitely be made a rule that any building that comes up which is publicly accessible should have wheelchair access. Otherwise, the permission should not be given for the building, because I think that is something that needs to be done as a definite thing. Because it's not just about people on wheelchairs; it is about older people also sometimes who
Mhm.
can't climb steps. So
Yes.
a ramp is always helpful.
Yeah. But that is a concept I think then requires a very deeper research also, because I think people, at least in India, I feel right now, do not completely understand what accessibility means when it comes to, converting uh, offices or homes into accessible living space or accessible working space. I mean, it's not just about ramps or building lifts. There's a lot more to it than just
Yeah.
two things. Unfortunately, right now, the way the things are in India, at least, people feel that ramps and lifts, and then you are done. But no, there is a lot
And
more to it.
Yeah, and one more thing I observed is, see, when you are coming into our den, so then everybody becomes conscious. Oh, Adi is coming in, and everybody needs to move out of the way. That's not good. Why do we have to do that? Why do we have to make him feel that because he's coming in? Now our natural thing is disturbed. I think the best way to treat it is treat you as one of us, where
Hmm.
you come and wait and you ask, can you move? And then we say, yeah, sure. See, that makes it natural. But when people step out of the way as if a train is coming, now I feel that very awkward, you know so I think people shouldn't be doing that, because that makes the person all the more conscious that yes, now they are very careful and conscious about these things. I know how things work, but I personally feel that I don't know which term to use when I talk about people, but whatever term we use, I think it is important that we see them as human beings also first.
Right.
uh, I think that is a key point, to see them as one of us and not as somebody who is struggling a lot and we need to go out of our way and help them. No, let them find their way. If they need help, they will ask us. That is there. So that is what friends do also, right? So
Yes.
if I need a help, I will ask a friend. It doesn't have to be because I have an issue. So I think same should apply for a person like you, where if you feel that you need help, you should be able to voice it out, and obviously people will treat you as a friend and help you. I think that makes more sense to me than being fully conscious and prepared always, like Adi is coming, so we need to do these things. No, I don't think that is the right way to do it.
I really like that. So I'm tempted to ask this now. You have
Yeah.
picked up very small nuances that we as physically challenged people look for. Right now, I'm using that term because I still have to figure out what the right term would be now, for which we'll have a discussion later. But you have picked up very small nuances that, it's like make or break difference kind of thing. Where did you learn all this? I'm really tempted to ask.
See, when I was growing up, having epilepsy, my parents were, both of them were working, so I didn't have anybody I could turn to talk. My brother was 8.5 years elder to me. Again, nobody to talk. So I was reading way beyond my age when I was very young,
Right.
and I used to think all the time. So, and for me, the biggest change happened when I was mentored by a 75-year-old guy when I was 14.
Okay.
So the kind of worldly wisdom that he put into me. So at the age of 14, I had literally went out of my house to take part in the Narmada Bachao Andolan led by Megha Patkar at that time. So my thought processes were way beyond my age. But to put it very simply, I have always maintained that why are we differentiating between people in any manner?
Yeah.
People are people. Let's just see them as like it is. And I think the biggest, so I had worked with a you know mental health institution for kids, and I felt, what is wrong with them? They are just different, and they kind of project more love than I have seen in normal kids. They're very honest about it, and I realized that we are labeling them. So that's what I'm really concerned about. We are labeling everybody. So now, when Adi is coming in, the label that is already given is okay. We have a physically challenged person coming in. So why do we have to do that? You could just say that there's one more person coming in. I would like you to meet him, and then we see how you are. And I think that's a much more authentic and true way of meeting a person rather than labeling him before coming in.
I love that. I love that. And what you said truly, I can resonate with this when you said that, even those who have like mentally challenged or emotionally challenged people, they express themselves much better way. And I know this for sure because as you know, I'm a fitness trainer, and I have trained a person who had Down syndrome.
Mhm.
And the kind of joy and love he used to bring to the gym was out of this world. I can tell you that. And we normally uh, tell people to celebrate life. And this was one guy you didn't have to tell him to celebrate life. The
Very
moment
true.
he
I
would
know.
do, the moment he would do a new exercise, he would do a dance on his own. That I did something
And
right. And I don't still remember. I'll forward you this video on WhatsApp. So first time he did deadlift, and he's like, you should see the happiness on his face after he did that. I'll show you that video. I captured it all in the video. And you're right, like these people celebrate emotions in a very different manner and always
yes.
happy. We need reasons to be happy. And this guy was like always happy. And he was one of the few clients I've had who had 100% attendance in the gym. Nobody has that these days.
And I have one more theory on this. So I always believe that we need to be very clear on the difference between help and support.
Yes.
So whenever a physically different person is coming in, we are thinking about help, but
Mm.
actually what we should be doing is support,
Yes.
and people don't know the difference. So
True.
supporting is more important, not helping,
Yes.
because
Support,
help is momentary.
assisting, but not help. Help is a different word altogether. It is a
Yes, help
different
is
thing.
momentary. You are
Yes.
helping for the moment. That's it. But when you're supporting a person, it becomes emotional support. It involves everything.
It involves
So
everything.
So I think that is something that people really need to stress on. Like, how do you support a person? Like, for example, just sitting with the person and listening to him talk is the biggest support you can give somebody,
True.
without judging the person. Like, if I'm talking to Adi and Adi wants to talk about his journey, so if I sit smiling and listening to the whole thing, now that's the biggest support I can give, because
Right.
nobody listens to anybody these days.
I agree. I agree. No, that's very insightful. I think this has been by far the most insightful conversation that I've had. So thank you so much for that. And so I am definitely going to connect with you more because I now for sure feel there is a lot more conversations we can have, which is going to help what I'm trying to bring forward to the viewers, right? So you are going to find me bug you all the more now
You're
because
you're always welcome.
yeah, because now
I,
I
I see the 33 of you guys. I was very clear that anytime you want to talk to me, I'm always available. See, I've been available to everybody there. I
yes,
never differentiated. I will talk even between having food. So I felt that the time that I have with each one of you, if I can make even a bit of change, because I've gone through hell, so I know when a person says, "Okay, I'm going through this," so I understand somewhere.
right.
So, and I do differentiate between people who are sitting alone or people who are partying. I'm there with everybody. So that
No,
is something that is.
that's something I've seen. So that's why I was like, okay, I want to connect with this guy, right? And definitely, you have made me look really good in the photographs. Uh, Everybody is complimenting me on that. So thank you so much for that as well. Like you brought out the emotions or the expressions that nobody else has ever been able to get out of me in photo, and when they click me. So that was another amazing factor for me because
What did your mom say?
I'm sorry.
What did your mom say?
Oh, she was thrilled to see. She's like, since when did you start giving these expressions? Because I'm the most expressionless person you can ever have as a subject when clicking photographs. I'm telling you, I get absolutely rigid face, straight face, or whatever you call on videos or on when somebody is clicking photos. I'm like, attention. Seriously, I'm telling
I
you,
understand.
I'm seriously like that. And for you to have been able to bring out those expressions is like something, it's like a priceless moment for me because if you look into my Instagram, you will not find those photos like that.
See, for me, I'm honored to take your pictures because I was in awe of people. I mean, the moment I read your profile, I was of complete respect and admiration for what you do, because I feel that is much needed in today's world. Where you become the voice for people, to speak up for them, and I really appreciate the fact that you have put in not just as a trainer for physically different people, but for everyone. I mean, I
Right.
think that's a huge, uh, because you are not just advocating the needs of people very similar to you, but you are advocating needs of every human being. Fitness is the need for every human being.
Everyone, yes.
So that's a huge thing.
Yeah, definitely. And there's more coming there. So I am going to expand more on physical and sorry, physical is already taken care of, but now we are getting experts on mental and emotional aspects as well, right? And then there is a different kind of expert that we need, and for which I'm going to talk to you offline.
Sure.
Yeah.
Always here.
So planning to onboard you on the team as well.
Always happy to be a part.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. Thank you so much for your time today. And this was a wonderful conversation. And I am going to have more conversations with you uh, because definitely your perspective is something that, because when I put out my perspective, right, it is a perspective of a physically challenged person, but your perspective as an able-bodied person, it would relate more to other people who are able-bodied as well, right? So I
Yeah.
would definitely want to get more on your perspective also out to the world so that other people can also relate to it and probably make a change towards the positive side.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for your time today. It was
Thank
really
you Arun, for making me a part of this. So I'm
you,
happy to do this.
you are going to be part of a lot more. Just wait for my call.
Yes.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care. Good night.
Good night.